Okay, everyone, fasten your seatbelts for the first installment of a high octane franchise. Let's talk about The Fast and the Furious, which is celebrating its 20th anniversary today. Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews. So, greetings, my fellow YouTubers, and welcome to Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews. My name's Doyle, better known to you as the Big D, and this time around I bring to you a review of the 2001 action flick The Fast and the Furious, released by Universal and directed by Rob Cohen, written by Gary Scott Thompson and David Ayer, the star of a really big franchise for Universal, starring Paul Walker along with Vin Diesel, Michelle Rodriguez, Jordanna Brewster, and a host of others. It follows an undercover cop tasked with discovering the identities of a group of unknown automobile hijackers led by Dominic Toretto. It was based on the story of Racer X by Ken Lee. Yes, which after Cohen had read this story featured in Vibe magazine, which detailed the illegal street racing circuit operating in New York City. So, here we go. On a deserted highway, a heist crew driving three modified black fifth-generation Honda Civic Coupes assault a truck carrying electronic goods, steal its cargo, and escape into the night. The following day, a joint LAPD and FBI task force sends LAPD officer Brian O'Connor to locate the crew while being undercover. He begins his investigation at Toretto's Market, ordering his regular tuna on white, no crust, and flirting with its owner, Mia, sister of the infamous street racer Dominic Toretto, while he ostensibly sits in the back office reading a newspaper. Dominic's crew, Vince in a 1999 Nissan Maxima, Leon in a 1995 Nissan Skyline GTR R33, and Jesse in a 1995 Volkswagen Jetta GLS, and his girlfriend Letty arrives. Vince, who has a crush on Mia, starts a fight with Brian until Dominic intervenes. That night, Brian brings a modified 1995 Mitsubishi Eclipse to an illegal street race, hoping to find a lead on the heist crew. Dominic arrives in his 1993 Mazda RX-7 and initiates a drag race between himself, Brian, and two other drivers. Lacking funds, Brian is forced to wager his car. Dominic wins the race after Brian's car malfunctions, but the LAPD arrive before he can hand over his vehicle. Brian in his car helps Dominic escape, but they accidentally venture into the territory of Dominic's old racing rival, gang leader Johnny Tran, and his cousin Lance Wynn, who destroy Brian's vehicle. Later, Dominic reiterates that Brian still owes him a 10-second car. The two then walk back to Dominic's house together, where an altercation between Vince, who is upset that Brian is at the house, and Dominic breaks out. Brian brings a damaged 1994 Toyota Supra to Dominic's garage as a replacement. Dominic and his crew begin the long process of restoring the vehicle, and Brian starts dating Mia. He also begins investigating Tran, convinced that he is the mastermind behind the truck hijackings. While investigating one garage at night, having driven a 1999 Ford F-150 SVT Lightning, Brian is discovered by Dominic and Vince, who demand an explanation. Brian convinces them that he is researching his opponent's vehicles for the upcoming desert race wars. Together, the trio investigate Tran's garage, discovering a large quantity of electronic goods. Brian reports the discovery to his superiors, and Tran and Lance are arrested while the Toyota Supra is restored and built. The raid fails, however, when the electronics are proved to have been purchased legally. Brian is forced to confront his suspicion that Dominic is the true mastermind. Brian is given 36 hours to find the heist crew as the truckers are now arming themselves to defend against the hijackings. The following day, Dominic and Brian attend race wars after test driving the newly built Supra and eating at a crab shack off US Route 101 in California Highway 101. At Race Wars, Jesse wagers his father's MK3 Volkswagen Jetta GLS against Tran in his Honda S2000, but flees with the car after he loses. Tran demands Dominic recover the vehicle and accuses him of reporting him to the police. Enraged, Dominic beats up Tran. Later that night, Brian witnesses Dominic and his crew leaving and realizes that they are the hijackers. He reveals his true identity to Mia and convinces her to help him find the crew. Dominic, Letty, Vince, and Leon attack a semi-trailer truck intended to be their final heist. The armed driver shoots Vince and runs Letty off the road. Brian arrives with Mia and rescues Vince. He is forced to reveal his identity to call in emergency medical care to save Vince. Dominic, Mia, and the rest of the crew leave before the authorities can arrive. Now to the ending. You know the procedure. 5 seconds to stop. Go to the description box. Fast forward to the time below. If you've seen the movie already, continue on. Here we go. Okay, you've been warned. Sometime later, Brian arrives at Dominic's house to apprehend him as he is getting his father's 1970 Dodge Charger RT out of the garage. He demands Brian leave since he is not rank, but is going to rescue Jesse, who has no one else to look after him. Instead, Jesse arrives at his house and pleads for protection. Tran and Lance ride by on motorbikes and shoot Jesse dead for reneging on their bet, hitting the Volkswagen in the process. Brian and Dominic give chase in their separate vehicles, finding and killing Tran and injuring Lance. Brian then pursues Dominic, with them both eventually acquiescing their to a quarter-mile drag race. The pair barely cross a railroad before an oncoming freight train passes, which ends the race in a draw, but Dominic crashes his car into a truck, injuring him. Instead of arresting him, Brian gives the keys to his own car to Dominic, asserting that he still owes him a 10-second car from their first race. Dominic escapes in the Supra as Brian walks away. And in the post-credit scene, Dominic is seen driving through Baja California, Mexico in a 1970 Chevelle SS. End of story. So, what did I think of The Fast and the Furious? Well, though it's been a year since I last saw this movie, but I do remember watching this before. I'm just going to say this was just a blast. It was a big success for Universal. Despite getting mixed reviews, which everybody did praise the action sequences and the performances we got from Paul Walker and Vin Diesel. Of course, Walker played Brian O'Connor and Diesel played Dominic Toretto. However, criticism was aimed at the storyline and its ending, which is understandable, but this was what started it all. Michelle Rodriguez plays Letty, and Jordanna Brewster plays Mia. We have Ricky Yoon as Tran, Chad Lindbergh as Jesse, Johnny Strong as Leon, and Matt Schultz as Vince. Yeah, I really will say that this is really a blast, and it's just so awesome. And the score by BT is pretty good. But anyway, this film became an instant success for Universal. The film went on to make $207 million worldwide, and would go on to put out a total of 9 sequels, starting with the next movie, which will come out 2 years later. But anyway, the story's pretty good. I mean, I do will say that maybe some of the story could just use a tiny bit of spin polish, but nevertheless, the action sequences were good. Walker and Diesel were a great team. Everybody else was really good. But hey, you don't have to take my word for it. But I still say I'm serious about Walker and Diesel. They were both good. So, enough said about it. So, the question is, would I recommend The Fast and the Furious? Hell yeah. I mean, you gotta start this franchise off with this, okay? Besides, if you didn't, you wouldn't know how this even started. Duh. Even so, I'd say The Fast and the Furious proved to be a big one. It's probably already the biggest franchise Universal's had to date. So, what are your thoughts on The Fast and the Furious? Please tell me in the comment section below. If you like this video, click the like button below, subscribe to my channel, be a part of the Big D Nation. Join me next time when I continue with Too Fast, Too Furious. Thanks for watching, and if you like this, you may want to check out some of these other action-packed flicks. And some of these are just classics. In the upper left-hand corner is my review of a film that turned 40 not so long ago, and that was Raiders of the Lost Ark. The upper right-hand corner is my review of another pretty cool action-packed flick of a buddy flick, in my opinion, with cars and what have you. Smokey and the Bandit from 1977, or go to the bottom left-hand corner and see my recent spoiler-free review for the musical In the Heights, if you want to take a break from the high-octane action. And go to the bottom left-hand, excuse me, wrong point, right-hand corner. The bottom right-hand corner for the button to click to subscribe. If you like rankings and reviews on movies, TV, music, video games, etc., then I'm your guy. And I'm doing this in order to promote F9 in theaters this Friday. Anyway, thanks for watching. Until next time, I'm the Big D saying, see ya.